This video was recorded live before a canned studio audience. It's Friday Night Movie Reviews, and here they are, Chris and Keith.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. I'm Keith.
I'm Chris.
And this is Friday Night Movie Reviews. Thank you for joining us tonight. We love it whenever you come and watch our videos because we like seeing you, and we can through your devices. So, we're going to review a movie tonight that we went and saw over the weekend, and this is a pretty popular franchise.
Yes, it is How to Train Your Dragon. They've had 3 animated movies, and now this is the first live-action remake of the original one.
Right.
So you're spanning over at least 10 years at this point, or more.
Right,
So.
exactly. So, yes, this was actually... This movie had a pretty good crowd whenever we went to see it in the theater.
Absolutely, it did.
A lot of people in there. I'm assuming it was people who were fans of this franchise that are now taking their kids to see it.
Yeah, because this has become a generational animation movie because of the fact that it's just similar to like Shrek, the Minions, Gru, all of them. Like this is the same kind of thing. So you have a generational movie going on here, and it was interesting to see that because it's like you doing the math. You're like by the time the first one came out, they're old enough to have kids now. And I mean, yeah, it was. You're talking a Thursday night, and we had a crowd like that seeing the movie.
Right.
And it just it's amazing, and it shows the longevity of this franchise that after all this time that it hasn't waned any at all.
Exactly.
So yeah, I guess we can get into the movie.
Yeah, so the basic premise of this movie is that you've got, I mean, if you've seen the cartoons, I for one have not seen the animated versions of this movie. I know you can go ahead and throw rocks if you want to, but I have not seen them. But from what I understand, from what Chris has told me, this version of the movie basically hits beat per beat from the animated.
Yeah, they really didn't change much. I mean, at all. Now it's been a long time since I've seen the original one, but it was amazing that they found actors, and actually they used Gerald Butler, who played the voice of the King Viking. He actually got to play the live action version, which was really cool to see. But
Right.
I mean, from the casting choices and everything else, it was amazing how they were able to keep it the same. And bringing Toothless to live action animation, they did not change the way that he looked.
Right.
I was really impressed with it. As far as like the way Toothless looked, and there were times that like he would do his wingspan and it looked like there was an actual like dragon there.
Right.
You know,
Right. The CGI was good. Was like right on par with right on top with this movie because it did look. I mean, the dragons looked real. The dragons looked like they were actually there.
Yeah, because most of the time it's like you kind of see it like on a green screen situation, but this one they you could tell they did their due diligence with this movie, and they let Lucasfilm and Light and Industrial Magic do their thing, and it showed. I'm like, okay,
Right.
they finally gave enough bread to get this movie looking right.
So the basic premise of the movie is that you have this group of Vikings and they live on this island. And they are constantly being raided by this group of dragons. And it's been happening for centuries, right? Been happening for centuries that they've been at war with these dragons, and these dragons just come in and they swoop down, they pick up sheep or whatever, and they sail off, and then they come back a little bit later and they do it again. So, and this has been going on forever. So they've grown up. The adults that are here have grown up fighting dragons since they were kids, and their parents and their grandparents had done the exact same thing. So this has been going on for quite some time.
Yep.
And now they have kids, and they're raising their kids to do the same thing, to come up and be the next group that fights these dragons.
And what a group of young children that they've got a selection of. I think that was one of our highlights of the film is these young
Right,
actors. Yeah.
right. So you've got this ragtag group of teens that are going through this testing phase to become the next dragon slayer.
Yep.
All right, and it's like this big contest that they have for the like top dragon slayer, and so they have this raid one night, and it's not like in other franchises where you have a different colored dragon that does has a certain way that a certain breath attack weapon. It's these are different types of dragons.
Yep.
And the different types of dragons attack and behave differently than another type of dragon. So, it's you have to know when you're fighting when you're fighting a dragon, you have to know what type of dragon that it is that you're fighting, because you have to know how they fight.
Yeah, and they all behave like you said differently. They all fight differently. They come in different shapes, colors. Some have multiple heads. I mean, you've got your nice little variety there. And they mention in the book that there's this one that they've never been able to see. It's never been spotted, and all this, and that's where the mystery of the movie is that you'll see. And of course, if you've seen the animated, you've probably been spoiled to this already since it is beat for beat.
Right, but we're still not going to spoil it in case it's somebody like me who hasn't seen the animated versions, and I mean,
and that's the reason why I had to keep quiet during the movie. I couldn't be like, oh yeah, that's this and that. Yeah.
But the thing is, though, even though I have not watched the animated versions, if you don't know anything about How to Train Your Dragon, then you've been living in some kind of a drawer or a closet somewhere or under a rock or something, because you've got to have some kind of familiarity with it. That's just the way it is. I mean, it's ingrained in society now.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, if you don't know that the black dragon is named Toothless, and if you don't know that that's the one that the movie is about, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, and see, you figured that out just like, okay, just
right.
Yeah, because this movie is a part of pop culture at this point.
Right.
Like, this is just as familiar as Shrek. Like, even without watching Shrek, you know who Shrek is. Like, it's just one of those things. Yeah,
and you know who Donkey is. If you've never seen the movie, you know who Shrek is. You know who Donkey is.
And then the real reason I mention this is the same studio that makes Shrek.
Right.
So it's DreamWorks Studios, which is owned by Universal.
But so what ends up happening is, without putting too many spoilers out there, one of the teens ends up finding out some secret ways to actually overrule these dragons without harming them or killing them.
Yep, and that would be the lead of the movie, Hiccup. That's
right.
His name. Yep.
And so he ends up becoming the top dragon slayer, but he never actually really killed one, because he found out ways to overcome them without having to kill them or even hurt them.
Yep, and he basically learned how to tame a dragon,
right,
or train it, as the movie title goes. And so without going much further with it, this is a family movie. There's no bad language. There's nothing at all like that in it.
I don't remember there being any bad language.
I don't remember any.
I mean, if there was any bad language in it, it was one or maybe two.
Yeah, and
vulgar words, and that was it.
And I couldn't even remember any of it.
I can't remember it either.
And when the dragons attack and they do shoot out their fire, some of them that can shoot fire, they don't show like deaths and all that, but they do occur. So there are Vikings lost.
Well, I don't know. It looks that way, but it's kind of like the old G.I. Joe cartoons. Whenever when a jet gets hit by a missile and you see the person jump out in a
Parachuting,
parachute.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of
Kinda
that
similar to that.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
It shows what could possibly be a death, but it doesn't really confirm it. So there is quote unquote violence in the movie,
but it's not shown on screen.
Yeah, but it don't show you anything.
Yeah.
So you could possibly safely take your kid to see this movie.
Yeah, I really don't see any problems with it because, like I said, there's no on-screen like situations with actually showing death.
I mean, there's way more violence and way more like animal on person violence in the Jurassic Park movies.
Oh yeah,
than there is in this one.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about.
You don't have to worry about people getting chomped. You know, nobody gets chomped and swallowed by a dragon.
Yep. So there's none of that. Even when they like take the livestock off, you don't actually see them eating the livestock or anything.
Right. And there's a whole story behind that too. And if you've seen the cartoons, then you probably already know. But if you haven't seen the cartoons, then hey, you know what? Watch the movie because you got to find out what that is. But yeah, you could. There's really. I don't remember there being any language in it, any foul language. There is violence because it's fighting, but it doesn't really show anybody dying, so I'm not really even sure there's like any death in it.
Yeah, and if they do, they don't really cover it. They only mention like somebody that died previous before the movie started.
Right.
And that's kind of the thing with the king there, and that's why he hates dragons so much. And if you see the movie, you'll see why.
And then there's also I mean there's I mean, it's intense because it is dragons.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot at stake there because this is their livelihood. They're trying to live on this island, and they've never been able to find where the dragons live. That's the other part of it.
Right.
And so that's been their goal for generations is like, hey, where are these dragons coming from?
Right.
You know, how are they doing this and that kind of thing.
Right.
And so you get to solve that mystery if you've seen the movie or the animated one. So, but again, I'm trying to reach the viewers. We're trying to approach this as if
not
you've
spoil
never
anything.
seen it. Yeah.
And not spoil anything. But yeah, it's
it's a kid action adventure movie. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we took my son to see it, and we took my granddaughter to see it. My granddaughter ended up this is a long movie.
That's my one negative about it.
This is much longer than the animated films.
Yes.
So my granddaughter fell asleep. She fell asleep during most of the movie. But my son, he stayed awake, he watched it, and he loved it. So I mean, you can take your kids to see it because it is a kid / adult type movie. No adult situations though. None whatsoever. No mention of any adult kind of situations because you have to remember this is a franchise that was based on animated versions, and it's aimed towards kids.
Yeah, and eventually this movie will be a great like babysitter movie too when it comes out.
Yeah.
You'll be able to put it on and they'll all just go into like your son. Yeah. He was just hypnotized by the movie from beginning to end.
Exactly. So let's get into what we actually thought about the movie. What did you think about the movie, Chris?
I liked the movie. My only real criticism of it is just the length. It was just way too long. Like you're sitting there waiting for him to get to the dragon, get to the training of the dragon part of the movie, you know, from the title. And it's just like, okay. And I understand that they're trying to set up the characters and they're showing you the motivations and you're getting a feel for who everybody is. But I think they could have done it a little bit faster.
Probably,
and the movie could have garnered from a little bit of editing because I'm like, this is intended for children to watch, and it was a little long. I know even as a child, I would have still been there, dragons, and had a good time with it. But at the same time, it's like, man, this is really long.
Right.
So they could have fixed that, but for like I was telling you, like the beat for beat things that they didn't change, like with the dad and Hiccup and all that was the same. It was nice to see that, and they got actors that looked like the cartoon version. The only one they changed really was Astrid, and then there's been a lot of controversy online. But I thought she did really well. She kind of invoked.
Oh, she did great.
She invoked the character of Astrid. Like when you eventually see the cartoon version, I mean, she did a great job. She had Astrid's personality. Just from the look, the costume was exactly the same. The way she did her hair was like how Astrid did it. So I was impressed. I mean, even with that change to the character, it didn't affect the part at all. And she had good chemistry with Hiccup. Like you totally believed it. Like I didn't feel like, oh well, yeah, that acting is like, ooh. And
you can tell they're acting.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that.
Yeah, the acting was great in this one. Like I really enjoyed the kids. Like one of our favorite characters was the kid that was like deluded. He had like this delusions of grandeur about himself. He was one of the best characters in the movie.
He thought he was the best at everything, and he thought he was the cause.
And
he
had like snot in his name or something like that. I forget what the character's actual name is, but by far one of the best parts of the movie. And the twins were funny. I enjoyed both of them. The kids were such a delight. The ones that were training to be dragon slayers, they were.
Right.
That was some of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story was great. I enjoyed the story. You had a good little mystery of figuring out about the dragons. Like that was great. I like the how they were animated with the CGI. I thought that was really well done. The music was good. Of course, take for granted this is not true to like real Vikings because none of them speak with a Nordic accent. There's a mix of Scottish, English.
Yeah.
They can't really decide how.
They can't decide how they want the Vikings to sound.
Yeah, so if you're expecting like it to be like, oh, well, that's not accurate to historic history of Vikings.
If you want a historically accurate Viking movie, you need to stay away from this one.
Yeah, and see that stuff wouldn't have been kid friendly for a movie, anyways.
No.
Luckily for you, there are shows like the show Vikings. Like, go watch that. Like, if you're wanting like true Vikings.
The Last King.
But this is like a cute version of Vikings for a kid movie. That's how they set this up. But no, I enjoyed it. What were your thoughts about it?
Well, I enjoyed the movie as well, and like you, I thought it was a little long in the tooth. But I will say that since I am not so totally familiar with the animated version, I did somewhat appreciate the length of the movie. Mm-hmm. Now, if I was a kid, would I have appreciated it as a kid? Probably not. But as an adult watching it, I kind of liked the length because it went into probably went into some detail of some things that the animated version did not, and probably filled in some gaps where if they had left it out, I'd have been like, might would have looked at things a little differently, and may would have seen things, been like, well, why was that? I didn't have those questions because it was pretty long. So I'm kind of on the fence about the length of it. Yeah, I liked the length because of that, but I didn't like it because I do think that it could have probably been a little shorter. They probably could have done some things to speed it up a little bit. As far as the acting goes, the acting was great. I loved it. I loved the kids, the chemistry that they had together. Just the individual characters. I loved it. I thought it was great. The chemistry between Hiccup and Astrid, I liked that. Too often, whenever you have young actors like that together in some kind of somewhat romantic situation, mm-hmm. you can tell that they're awkward with it, and they did not seem awkward.
No, they didn't
seem awkward. Yeah. It seemed very natural. It did seem like they were actually getting involved with one another romantically. So I did enjoy that. I liked the acting in it. Music was good. Special effects were good because the dragons looked real. They looked like they were actually there. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a really good movie. I thought it was a really fun movie. This would probably go in. This is definitely, when it comes out on Blu-ray, it's definitely going in my collection.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And not just that, but this is what I would, since we're doing movies here around in the summertime, this is one of the movies that I would categorize as a fun summer movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Right along with Karate Kid Legends, right along with Mission Impossible 8. and the other movies that a couple of the other movies that we've actually seen that I categorized with that. This would fall in line with those.
Yeah, so they put it out at a good time.
Yes, they did. I think they did a really good job with that. So I would probably give this movie, I would say this movie is answering the question of, is it worth your cash or is it trash? This movie is definitely worth your cash.
I agree. Totally.
It definitely is. And I would definitely go and support this movie, because what you want is you want the studios to see, hey, the audiences want more of this kind of movie.
Yep.
So we need to make more of this kind of movie rather than this kind of movie.
And I mean, heck, they've got 2 other sequels that they can live actionify.
Right,
so
right.
I'm like, and that
Right.
way you can see Toothless's girlfriend in the
Exactly.
other movies. So
Exactly.
we need to see a little bit of that.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's really, I thought it was fun. I thought it was really good. And if I was going to rate this movie with my buckets of popcorn, I would probably give this movie about 8 buckets of popcorn.
So you think I was fair? I had eight Pepsis in mind, and that's what I'm going to go with. So 8 Pepsis out of 10. Because and the only reason I'm deducting points is just because of the length of the movie. It was just a little too much. But I will say this movie is a good introduction to fantasy movies.
Right.
If you want to eventually get your kids into like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, this is a great starter film for that.
This is a good way to introduce it.
Yep.
By the way, my son, out of 10 slices of pizza, my son said he would give it 10 million slices of pizza.
Yeah, he was very insistent upon that.
Yeah, very, very insistent on 10 million and not just 10. So he gives it 10 million out of 10 slices of pizza. So just to let you know, this definitely is geared towards kids, and he got it.
Yeah. Like I said, he was on the edge of his seat. I saw him sitting there. He was just like this the whole time,
right,
just enjoying the movie.
Right. Now, my granddaughter, on the other hand, who fell asleep during it, I mean, she liked it. She gave it some, I think she gave it like 10 bowls of daiquiri ice cream.
Yeah. She said 10 out of 10
ice.
too. She goes, the times I was awake and actually watching it, she goes, I give it 10 out of 10. Yeah. I was like, okay. So you've got two kid perspectives on the movie. So if that gives you any idea, like, will your kids enjoy it? I think that answers that question.
Exactly. So, it's just it's a good kids movie. It's a good fun summer movie. So it's definitely one that's worth seeing, and it's definitely worth the cash.
And it's not worth saying to the end of the credits. They just show him like looking at the book one more time. So you just go home.
No end credit scene. So once it's done, just get up and walk out, because all he does is just put the book down and open it up, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's your end credit scene.
Yep.
I don't know what it is they're trying to get across there, but I missed it.
Yeah. We were like, man, really? That's it? And so did the other people that stayed around.
Right. Well, that's our cue to go.
Yep. Remember to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to hit that bell notification for when the next video drops. Leave us a comment. What did you think of How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version? What did you think of the animated movies? Would you like us to review those? Leave it in the comment, and maybe we can review those sometime.
Exactly. And hey, you know what? This was a good, fun movie, and I really enjoyed it. Chris enjoyed it. The kids enjoyed it. And all of the kids who were there in the theater around us, they all enjoyed it as well. So gather up a bunch of your friends, gather up your kids and your kids' friends, and everybody pile into your car, get into the station wagon, and head on out to the theater to watch this movie, because it's really worth seeing. And you know what? When you do, remember, enjoy your movie.